Garfield has the zoomies. Sir. He's orange. That's all I have to say. I have my bear with me for emotional support. Also, my hair isn't toned yet. Don't look, just ignore it. We're gonna talk about media literacy today, because that's actually what my minor was in for my bachelor's. A fun fact, because I'm just that obnoxious. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Hazbin Hotel. I'm gonna tell you my little story. I was on Tumblr when Hazbin Hotel's YouTube pilot came out. I was pretty anti Hazbin Hotel, I will not lie. I was pretty anti, I think you pronounce it Vivzipop? Vivian. I was not a big fan of her, I will not lie. I felt like, from the pilot alone, Angel was kind of like a character of a queer person. I wasn't rocking. Like, don't get me wrong, he was cool. But it wasn't like, this representation is the best thing I've, like, I didn't feel that way about him. However, Amazon's A24's Hazbin Hotel, I like him now. I really like him. So we're gonna talk about it. Basically, there's a lot of controversy surrounding Angel, and this is what my notes look like. So you're just gonna have to, like, chill. But okay, so when we are first introduced to Angel, both in the YouTube pilot and the actual first episode of the animated series, we meet a loud, confident, and promiscuous character. And I was like, okay, he's cool because he's slutty, but, like, I don't have an attachment to him until the end of, I think, episode 1, when we see somebody leaving messages on Angel's phone, and he is listening to them, and they basically go back and forth between, like, blowing up on him, yelling at him, and then Val will, like, love bomb him, and then he'll go back to insulting Angel. And that kind of, I was like, okay, like, what's going on? Also, I think that fat nuggets was a really good idea. Kind of like Will Graham's dogs in Hannibal. Like, you see this character and you're like, oh, he's kind of an asshole. But then you see him with his pets, and he's very, like, it makes him feel like a human being, not a character. That was a good move. My favorite episode of Hazbin Hotel was the 4th episode, because I'm a huge stereotype, and I feel like that is a lot of people's favorite episode. We're going to talk about Poison. I wrote down some specific lyrics that I wanted to talk about. So in this episode, Charlie is going... Angel is a corn star. I don't know if I haven't really given you any information. I was just kind of assuming that everybody knew. Angel is a corn star. His pimp's name is Valentino. And in episode 4, Val is calling Angel to the studio, like, get your ass in here now. Charlie, Queen of Hell, Princess of Hell, is not having it. She's like, no. So she marches over to the studio, and she's, like, getting ready. And there is a scene where Charlie is trying to get Angel out of it. Angel did not ask for this. Angel is noticeably uncomfortable with her being there. He wants her gone. He does not. When she comes in, the first thing he says is he tells her to turn around. Like, he does not want her to talk to Val, because he knows that Val is a threat. Charlie doesn't leave because she is very optimistic and doesn't realize that some people are just pieces of shit, i.e. Val. So Angel is taken into his dressing room, and Val basically like hits him and chokes him and it makes a big show out of it, you know, throws around a lot of I own yous. Also, somebody pointed this out on TikTok that made me very sad. If you look at the scene closely, you will see that while Angel is being like held down and hit, Val is also like grabbing his chest. Made me very sad. And we see that Angel with I Own You has sold his soul. Anthony, which was the previous, you know, Angel's real name, Anthony sold his soul to Val. Val owns Anthony. Oh shit. Hi, different day. My laptop is super loud because I'm editing, so it sounds like a jet engine. I was in the middle of editing the video and I remembered that I forgot to mention something. I thought it was very interesting, in the scene where Val is threatening Angel, how it's shot. With Angel, whenever the camera's on Angel, it's always like a downward angle, making Angel appear smaller, while with Val, there's an upward angle. And it's very interesting to see Angel appear so small, especially when, like, next to Lucifer, he's like a giant. Next to Husk, he is a giant. I thought it was very interesting the way that they made Angel look as small as he like feels. Anyways, now we go into a song. So we are led to believe that Val and Angel started off as a like romantic pairing with this song. I should have known that this would happen. I should have known it when I looked in your red hot eyes, spewing all of your red hot lies. This, to me, sounds like they started out in a relationship and, like, red hot lies, Angel was tricked into giving Val his soul. So, lay that one out on the table. And then, it goes into the bridge, which is, what's the worst part of this hell? I can only blame myself. Let's talk about victim blaming, which is super... So actually, if we're really going to talk about it, I noticed that in the reaction to Hazbin Hotel, a lot of people do not like Angel. A lot of people, you either love Angel or you hate him. You either love Angel or you see him as a bad victim, which is a victim that doesn't act according to the way that we feel as though victims should act. I think that Angel is a really good example of this, because not only does a decent chunk of the internet think that Angel is a bad representation of an SA victim, but also Angel himself. In the second verse of Poison, Angel says, I got so good at being untrue. I got so good at telling you what you want to hear. I disassociate. I disappear. Now, somebody pointed out, when you watch the scene with Poison, in the front and center, you see Angel dressed in, like, leather and, like, black and spandex, and, like, he looks really cool. And he's doing a little dance. He's doing, like, a hot dance. But if you look behind him and the background dancers dancing, there's, like, screens. And if you watch the screens instead of watching him dance, there is, like, an entirely different picture going on. The screens show Angel being put in bad situations, being abused. And in the front, he looks super happy. He's living it up. He's slaying. But in the back, on the screens, you see, like, the reality of the situation of him being abused, and he, like, looks scared. which I thought was very interesting in terms of like visual storytelling, because I think the moment in episode 4 where you realize that angel dust is merely like a front that Anthony puts on in order to cope with the fact that he is in this situation. It's all he can do. He can't escape. Which also kind of, I'm gonna throw this little piece in here while I can. There's different types of victims. Some people are hypersexual, some people are sex repulsed. Like, there's all different kinds of reactions that people have from trauma. And I think that Angel, as a victim who is hypersexual, he gets a lot of backlash for that. But I did want to say that a lot of people don't think that that's like a good representation. The way that people are talking about it, you think that it's like I spit on your grave or something. It's not. Although this may not be some people's favorite portrayal of an SA victim, it still is a portrayal. Also, let's talk about the corn industry. Angel is manipulated into selling his soul and being a corn star. And all I want to say is that that is like a real thing that happens to people. That's a real like thing that happens in real life. So I think demonizing Angel is like not cool. Yes, also another thing that I wanted to put in here, male victims. Originally I thought Angel was like a character of a gay man. They literally call him Drag Show in the YouTube pilot. You know, like I was like, this feels fetishy, like I'm not into this. And then I really thought about it. I wanted to talk about male victims and the shame around SA with male victims. Again, going back to, and the worst part of this hell is I can only blame myself. Angel believes that this is his fault, so he will pretend to accept it. It becomes part of his personality as a coping mechanism. The concept of, well, I mean, you had sex, which is really shitty. But I do think that there is a correlation there with male victims and the shame surrounding being a male victim. Nobody wants to be a victim. It's much easier to be a playboy or whatever you want to say. Like, it's nobody, you know what I mean? Because I was curious why Angel was specifically written to be a gay man, and then I kind of thought about men and the different reactions and the idea that men are supposed to be into sex no matter at what cost. It kind of made me think of Poison. So there have been some recent, another editor's note, there have been some recent allegations towards the person who storyboarded Poison, and the fact that they were found to have some not so safe for work interests. I don't know the full extent of it because I didn't want to look at it. I said, I'm okay. But I do think it's interesting. A lot of people are using this as a reason why Angel Dust is not a good representation of SA, but I would like to add something to the pot. Angel cannot escape being sexualized by the characters in the show. When he almost gets roofied, he can't escape that. He can't escape being overly sexualized by the fan base. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's kind of bonkers. And he also cannot escape from being overly sexualized by his creators. Yeah. In a really weird way, he reminds me of Jessica Rabbit. The rant before Loser Baby, where Husk confronts him and Angel says, like, you think I asked to be this way? I didn't ask for this. Anyways, yeah, made me incredibly sad, very sad. What a disappointment. I still like Angel, but finding out that the person who storyboarded Poison was a dirty fetishist was quite a low blow. Really quick, I wanted to bring up the concept of self-destruction in victims of abuse. I thought it was very interesting the way that they portrayed that. They literally, like, they spell it out for you. He is self-destructing because he does not want Val to be obsessed with him anymore. And the idea is that if he hurts himself, then maybe Val will let him go, which is a popular mindset coming from people who are victims of abuse. Anyways, I also wanted to talk about Loser Baby. I think this is the first time that we really see Angel and Husk understand each other, which is super interesting once we get to episode 6. We find out that both Angel is owned by Val and Husk is owned by Alistair. I was struggling trying to find a way to word this. They're both chained. When Husk is like sassing Alistair and he kind of like yanks him by, it's a very like solid metal chain. And you're like, oh shit, they actually have a lot in common. And then in episode 6, there is a scene where Angel is at the bar with Cherry Bomb and the whole gang, and he is offered drugs, and he says no. He resists the poison, but then he sees Val, and Val like sees him, and Val is not very nice to him, and he says some not very nice things, and there is a scene where you see the chains, which previously you see them in episode 4 when Val is making it a point that he owns Angel. He kind of like holds him up by these like red dust. I don't know. They're chains though, but they're only there sometimes, and they're not real. They're magic chains. Val is very mean to Angel, and Angel, Val's like, I own you, and Angel is like, yeah, like in the studio, not here, leave my friends alone. And while this is happening, you do see the chain, except for it's kind of like a little bit more like see-through. And Val hits Angel, but when he hits Angel, the chain, like the shackle, like and I thought that was very symbolic in terms of visual storytelling. I thought that was great. Well done. The imagery of Angel standing up for himself against Val for the first time in the whole show. Season 4, or in episode 4, when the confrontation happens between Angel and Val, it's shot so Angel is like at a downward angle and Val is at an upward angle. So Angel looks significantly smaller and like he's looking down on him, right? But this scene is shot with them as like equals. And when Val hits Angel, it like breaks the chain, which I thought was cool. I think in episode 4, it kind of shows like, learned helplessness is such a big thing that in episode 6, when Angel finally stands up for himself and like busts out of that, I was pumped. I was so excited. I wanted to talk about Angel's arms. So Angel is a spider, right? He got 6 arms, 2 legs. When Angel is fighting in the last episode, we see his last, like, set of arms bust out. Because he usually has 4 arms in total. 2 sets. But when he is fighting, we see an additional pair of arms. Because he's a spider. So, Angel's fighting for his life, right? He pops out his other arms. I feel like, based on that, you can kind of like put the pieces together that the amount of arms Angel has correlates with how dangerous a situation is, or how much he feels as though he is in control, like how much he wants to defend himself, like whatever you want to say. But I noticed that for pretty much the whole show, Angel has 2 pairs of arms, 4 total. He has 6 when they're fighting. The angels, when they think they're gonna die. You know when he has 2? When he only has 2? He only has 1 set of arms. It's loser, baby. That's the only time that I could find when Angel only had 2 arms and 2 legs. And I thought it was very interesting, the contrast of Poison to Loser Baby, because we see Val shoving Angel around and grabbing him. And then you go into Loser Baby and you see Husk. He sticks out his hand and he lets Angel grab his hand. And he's like really gentle with Angel. He like lets Angel like do his thing. Angel like drifts off and he does his little solo dances, and then they come back together, and by the end of it, Angel only has 2 arms. All I'm saying is that Angel, after Loser Baby, feels safe around Husk. That's all I'm saying. And I thought that was really sweet, because Husk is the only person who consistently turns down, like, Angel is constantly coming on to Husk, just because that's like his personality, and Husk is like, no, stop this, I see through you. And there's a very vulnerable moment that Angel doesn't really have. I mean, don't get me wrong, he obviously cares about Charlie. He cares about people, but I feel like Husk is kind of like he's allowed to be vulnerable around Husk, so he puts his other arms down, if that makes any sense. I also kind of wanted to talk about the concept of poison. So if you look in the background of a shot, it's like some random ass, I think it's near Stayed Gone. You see Love Potion by Velvet, and what is that? When Angel's in the bar in episode 4, when he's self-destructing, according to Husk, fuckhead puts a misty pink liquid into Angel's drink that looks suspiciously like the Love Potion in the billboard by Velvet. Velvet, Valentino, and Vox are the 3 Vs. They work together. I think it's very interesting that in Poison, at the end of the first verse, you see Angel kind of like, he's like reaching up and he like gets sucked into this like red mist. Because I personally believe that that is the Love Potion by Velvet. I saw, like, I really like that theory. I thought it was sick. Literally sick in the head, sick disgusting, but also sick like smart. Also, Val, whenever he drools, his saliva is like the same color red. I do not trust Val. That is a bad man. He's not good. Bad man. I think that's all I'm going to talk about so far. Yeah. Be kind. Just be kind to each other. I hope you have a nice day. Bye.